So now we'll build our calculator app which will add two numbers that is given by the user through the browser. So we'll be connecting our HTML form with our backend, performing the operation and sending the result to the user. So let's get started. I have created my calculator app folder wherein I have my two files, index.html and index.js. So in my HTML file, I have created a form and where you have two input fields where they are entering the first number and the second number, and I am using the keyword name to store them, okay, as num1 and num2. Now here I have a submit button. So when the person clicks on that, it is going to do this action, that is to go to the home route and post the data, right? So how all this is happening, we'll see later on. But before that, we have to initialize stuff in our JavaScript, right? So we have to make it server side. So first I will go to the directory where my calculator app is being built, and then we will initialize npm, and then here you can see inside calculator app our entry point is index.js, and then we click on enter, and that's it. So package.json is created. Now I'll do npm I express. So we're going to use express to do all this. So that will also be done in a couple of seconds. Yes, so in our package.json, we have our dependency express installed and we are good to go. So we'll use the same boilerplate that we used in our second example in the previous session. So here I'll go back to the index.js in calculator app and paste this, okay. So it's the same code, so you can again you reuse it, okay. So we're going to listen to the port 3000, and if we are sending a get request, okay, if the user is sending a get request, how to handle it, send them this, okay. So it will work. So now we don't want to send just some data, right, some information to be displayed. We want to send our HTML file completely, right? That's where they will enter the data. So to send the HTML file, we can write response res.send, okay, send file. So we are sending a file, and inside that we can write this underscore dir name. So this is very important, okay, to get to know where your current index.js file is, and related to that we will access the index.html file. So here plus slash index.html. So if suppose your index.html was there in another file or another folder, then you will write the folder name and then index.html. So since here, just like how JS file is the same place you have your HTML file as well, I'm just using a backslash index.html. Okay, so let's see if this entire thing will run. For that, I will call node and index.js first. It's running on 3000. Now I'll go back and restart, and here you can see the sum calculator is being displayed over here. So now if I put in some number 2 and 3 and click on calculate, you can see cannot post, okay. That means what happened here, although we wanted to post it to the server, okay, we don't have any other response that is coming from the server. So that's why this error is being shown over here. So how do we access those or how can we send a response to a post request that was sent? For that we will write app.post. We'll use the post function, and where did the post come from our root directory, and within that we can add a function, a callback function with the same parameters, request and response, and we can respond with something, okay. For now I will again response dot send. I'll just send I have received your data. This is the server saying, okay, I have received your data. Okay, so now let's go back. If you restart, nothing is okay. Continue form submission, nothing. Still, we have the same error. The reason being we didn't restart our server. Okay, we have to restart that. Okay, so our server connected at port 3000, and over here we continue with form resubmission, and yes, it's working. Okay, so now if I go to my console in my network, okay, if I show you, if I restart, here you can see that in my local host, the form data num1 and num2 have been sent. Okay, so here you can see num1 and num2. This was a name that we defined in our HTML. That's why I said this is very important for us. So now how will you access it in your logic code, and how can you add and send? Because we have to send the result. We don't want to just send, have received your data. So for that, we have to use another NPM package, okay, to read the input, right? To use it in our code, we have to use an NPM package called body parser. So we have to first of all install body parser. NPM I body parser. Okay. So now after installing this one, if you go to the package.json, you can see body parser is also installed. We have to use that or initiate that in our JS file. So to use body parser in our index.js file, we will have to add these two lines of code, which will enable us to get that input that was posted, right? So here again, to print that input, we can, in our post method, we can write console.log request.body. So this will give in whatever was sent in that post request from the form. So let's first run our index.js file. So the server has successfully started. Now I'll go back and here I'll refresh. Okay. Yes. So now here I can add in the numbers. I'm adding 2 as the first number, and then I'm going to add 3 as the second number. Okay. So now I'll click on calculate, and coming back to our VS Code, you can see over here I have an object that is being printed out. That means my post, when I clicked on post, these two key value pairs or the object was something that was sent to my server. Okay, so where do we get this num1 and num2 keywords? This was something that we had defined in our name keyword. Okay, so to access, that's why I said this was something very important to access our input fields. So now this is an object that we were able to print inside our server-side JS. So now we can just use a dot operator and put num1 and rerun this entire thing. Okay. And after rerunning, okay, so again 3 calculate, and over here I had to only I only asked for num1. So over here you can see num1, that is 2, has been printed. So now I can access num2 also this way. So I will store that in the variable num1. Okay, local variable num1, and then var num2 is equal to the same thing, except we have to write num. Okay, so now both we are able to access. So now easy, we have to just add them both and send the result is equal to num1 plus num2, and we will do res dot send the sum is, use string concatenation and then result. Okay, so let's see how this will work. So again I'll restart. Okay, and then I'll put in the first number as 4, the second number as 5, and when we calculate, we get 4 plus 5 is 45. And this is definitely wrong, right? So what happened here, as I showed before, whatever the object that we got, okay, it was having the value 2 and 3 in strings or character form. It wasn't in the number form. So we have to convert them to numbers. Okay. So this is some mistake, something that we miss out and we get a wrong result. So I will use this number and I will convert them into numbers. So now if I go back, restart the server, okay, and okay, so first I'll cancel this, run this entire thing again, put in two values, maybe 10 and 2. Let's see what is it. So 10 plus 2 is 12. So successfully we have created our calculator app. We have seen a lot of things over here, how we can connect or render our index.html file, and how we can take an input from the user, connect it to the server, how we can retrieve that input within our server code and do some operation and send back the result. So this is something again you can practice by yourself with this weekly task too. You have two options. You can create a ticket cost calculator for passengers who are traveling with one airline, and where the passenger will input the departure city, destination city, and also the passenger count, and you have to give the total ticket price. So you can just take 2 to 3 cities because we don't want to work with a lot of data as of now. So how we do that with a lot of data, we'll cover in the further sessions. And or if you want to do something else, you can create a web app that is like a currency converter, right? So it converts AED to USD, Euro, and OMR, which is the Oman Rials. So otherwise, you can take any other currency as well. Just take 3 of them, and whenever the input is in the form of AED, you have to convert it into USD, Euro, or vice versa. So this is it about the entire session, and hope it was useful. So next week we'll be covering APIs and how we can work through them and how we can effectively bring in a lot of different functionalities within our projects. So thanks for watching and see you all in the next session.